The first step in constructing the boxy bag is to cut the materials out. So I have cut 2 of my solid bottom of my bags and 2 of my top bags out, each measuring 4.5 by 13 inches. And then I've cut my single loop for my bag, and I have my zipper ready to go. The next step is to just take one of your upper bag and one of your lower bag and put them both right sides up next to each other. We're going to sew them together along this middle part. So you're going to flip your good sides together. So simply just flipping your lower bag on top of your upper bag, and you are going to pin along this seam. I've left 5/8 seam allowance, so now you're going to back stitch, go all the way down back stitch on both pieces. So do it to your other one as well, because you also have another bottom and another top. So I've sewn down the 2 sides for each of my boxy bags, attaching one bottom with one top, so that you have sort of just a big rectangle with 2 colors and the seam going down the middle. You're going to want to go and press this, and then also we're going to go and serge our edge all the way down. If you don't have a serger, that's okay. You can zigzag stitch close to the raw edge of your seam allowance so it prevents unraveling on the inside. So now you should have pressed your seam and seam finished or serged along that bottom edge to prevent unraveling. Now, before we insert the zipper, I would serge all the way around my square, or zigzag finish all the way around the square. Now that we've seam finished around our edges of our rectangles, it's now time to put the zipper in. So keep your rectangle face up with your upper bag closest to your zipper. I also have my zipper good side up, so I'm looking at the teeth and my pull. And so I'm going to even my edges out. As you can see, I bought a longer zipper. So I have an 18-inch zipper. I did this because for beginners, when you sew your first zipper, sometimes the pull and the zipper stop can get in your way. So what you're going to do is lay the good side up and the good side up of your zipper, and all you're going to do is simply flip the zipper face down so that now good sides are touching each other, and you are going to pin along the top edge. So you're going to just take the top of your zipper tape, which is the top of the white here, and pin it with matching the top edge of your upper bag all the way along. You can, if you are using a longer zipper, just make sure approximately equal tails hang out either end. And I will show you at the machine how to sew a zipper on using your zipper foot. When sewing a zipper, you must use a zipper foot. So these different feet come with your sewing machine. So this is a zipper foot for the Janome. The way you switch your foot is by simply pressing the button or lever at the back. It will release the foot that's on there. And then just lining up, there's 2 bars here for different positions for your zipper foot. So lining it up with the bar, dropping your foot down using your take or presser foot lever, and then it will just clamp on for you. You can also put it on this side depending on what side of the zipper you're coming down. You want to put it so that the zipper is hanging away from the teeth of the zipper so that the zipper teeth don't get in the way, and then you're not off-roading while you sew. So I'm using black thread just for this tutorial so it shows up nicely in this video. You will want to choose a matching thread, and I'm going to follow the edge of this paddle of my zipper or the 10 line all the way down. It will be the same sort of measurement here. So I'm going to keep my paddle just along the top of my zipper tape, and I'm going to sew the whole length of my zipper from the start of the fabric to the end of the fabric. I've successfully inserted half of my zipper. So when you lay it out, it should look like this. And so we're going to repeat it with the other side. So I already have this side good side up again. I have my opposite part of my boxy bag good side up, and so all I'm going to do is flip that zipper face down like this and pin it to the top edge of the other side, just like we did with the first side. I just want to make sure that these edges match. So you don't want it like overhanging like this when you pin it. You do want to make sure that both your sides match here and that this top of the zipper lines up with the top of your fabric. And you're going to go and put it through your sewing machine just the same way, following that paddle all the way down. This is what you should have now that you've sewn both sides of your boxy bag to your zipper. Go ahead and press that seam really nice and flat so your pieces are away from your zipper teeth and it sits really smoothly. Now we are going to flip our whole boxy bag over on itself. So again, good sides are together, and we're going to sew the long seam at the bottom. So from this corner to this corner, you are going to sew following the 15 line or 5/8 again all the way down, and then go and press that seam flat open so it sits smoothly. You should now have sewn your base of the bag along that long side and pressed it flat open. So we're going to just leave our boxy bag for a second and put it to the side as we prepare the loop for our bag. So you have a longer side that measures 3.5 inches by 2 3/4. We want to just place it down on the ironing board, and you are going to turn in along the long edge 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch. It's the same thing, and then you're going to just go ahead and press that. The reason we're doing fold on the iron instead of just sewing it is the length or the width of the loop is a little narrow for you to flip. So it's a little bit easier if we just fold in, and so I'm taking the other top edge now and doing the same. I'm folding it in 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch right there, and I'm going to give it a press. And then finally I'm going to take the two folds and fold them together so I have nicely two folds touching each other and no raw edges showing, and then give it a final press. So now you're going to go to your machine and you're going to sew down really close edge stitch down the side that has the two folds pressed together, and also the other side with just the single fold, so that it lays nice and flat for our little loop to hang out of our boxy bag. So you should have a finished loop piece like this. We will be inserting it into our next step here. At first though, we are going to pin our bottom of our boxy bag together. So I've just folded my base onto basically my top pieces, right sides together. And I'm going to make sure that that seam right here is right on top of my zipper teeth, so it's not sideways, and my boxy bag will stay nice and flat. So as soon as I have that, I'm going to pin all the way across this side and all the way across this side here. And because I'm using a plastic coil zipper, I can sew over the teeth of the zipper. So when I go into my machine, I'm going to back stitch, go across, and back stitch. Don't do that to this side yet. This side has a little extra step that we have to do. So we're only doing it on the end of our zipper, so where our zipper stop is. So I've sewn only across my side where my zipper end is here. I'm going to now open up my zipper because, like I said, I'm using a longer zipper, and so I'm going to make sure, and even if you're not using a longer zipper, you will want to pull your zipper inside your bag so it's easy to flip right side up. So open your zipper, I don't know, about 4 inches down, and now you are going to insert your loop in here. So we are going to fold our loop piece in half like so. So we have two raw edges up here, and the fold is going to go into our bag. And so we're going to put our fold down here, and our raw edges are all lined up here, and I'm going to put it right over top of that seam, and I'm going to sew just the 10 line to secure this in place before I go ahead and pin this side to sew across. So pinning your loop right on top of that seam and just following the 10 line. So now that our loop is secured in there, We're going to pin our zipper butted up with our edges even at the top here, and our teeth should go again right on top of that seam and in the middle of our loop piece that we've attached. And now you're going to do the same as the other side. You're going to follow the 15 line and backstitch, go straight across and backstitch. So now that we've sewn both ends of our boxy bag, we can go ahead and cut our tails of our zipper off, because it will run into the bottom of our seam here and the zipper won't be able to come off. So you can get rid of those so they're not hanging out in the inside of our boxy bag. And now we have a flat pouch. If we flipped it right side out, it would be a functional zippered pouch, but we're going to give it depth. So we're going to create the corners to our bags now. When marking our corners, we want to measure 1.5 inches from this side. So I'm going to measure 1.5 in and only 1 inch up from my fold. The reason is because we have the seam here, that's 5/8, and so it'll be essentially an inch from your stitching line. If that's easier to understand, you can put your 1 inch ruler right on your stitching line and measure from your stitching line 1 inch over, and then from your fold 1 inch up, and draw a little 1 inch box. Okay, I put usually my ruler on 1.5 inches on my my finished edge here, and I'm just going to draw myself a little chalk line. And then I'm going to put my ruler the other way at 1 inch. And I'm going to draw a chalk line here. And so what I get is basically from the stitching line 1 inch over, and from the fold line 1 inch up. Okay, and we are going to cut those boxes out to form our corners. You're going to do the same thing to this one, putting your ruler on the stitching line 1 inch and 1 inch from there on all 4 corners now. So once you've cut out your rectangles from each corner, you're going to just pull sort of the L apart. So I'm grabbing it at the middle of my square and I'm pulling it apart so that I can line up this intersecting seam. So I want to line up where gray and contrast meet, and it will look sort of like this, where you pin it across, and you are going to follow 15 line backstitch, go all the way down to the very edge of your fabric, backstitch, following that little cut edge on that 5/8 line to all your corners now. Once all your corners have been sewn on each side, go ahead and serge across or zigzag stitch the raw edges again on this, and they are done. Once you're done serging, give your bag a nice flip to the right side and really poke out your corners in each corner of your bag so that it stands nice and boxy. Once you've sort of pushed your corners out, you are finished your little boxy bag. So give it a little zip up and you should have a really cute looking boxy bag just like this. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more easy to do projects and techniques.